Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhamad Raziq bin Abdul Ghani. My metric number is 1191930. Today I will talk about the food science and technology. The title given to me is about lipids. I will share you the little bit about lipids. Let's go. We go through the introduction. Lipids include a diverse group of compounds that are largely non-polar in nature. This is because they are hydrocarbons that include mostly non-polar carbon or carbon-hydrogen bonds. Non-polar molecules are hydrophobic, which is water-faring or insoluble in water. Lipids perform many different functions in a cell. Cells store energy for a long term use in a form of fat, which is when we eat the product contains lipid, it gives us energy, which is 1 gram equal to 9 kilocalorie. Lipids also provide insulation from the environment for plants and animals. For example, in the figure 1, they help keep aquatic birds and mammals dry when forming a protective layer over fur and feather because of their water repellent hydrophobic nature. Lipids are also the building block of many hormones and are an important constituent of cellular membranes. Also, lipids include fats and oil, wax, phospholipids, and steroids. Today, I will talk about the fats and oil. Let's go. In fat and oils, a fat molecule consists of two main components, which is glycerol and fatty acid. Glycerol is an organic compound which is alcohol with 3 carbons, 5 hydrogens, and 3 hydroxyl OH groups. And fatty acid have a long chain of hydrocarbons to which is a carboxyl group is attached, hence the name of fatty acid. The number of carbons in the fatty acid may range from 4 to 36. Most common are those containing 12 to 18 carbons. In a fat molecule, the fatty acid are attached to each of 3 carbons of the glycerol molecule with an ester bond through an oxygen atom. We can look in the figure 2. Let's go. We can look to the figure 2. Figure 2 stated that triglycerol is formed by the joining of the 3 fatty acid to a glycerol backbone in a dehydration reaction. 3 molecules of water are released in the process. Next, during this ester bond formation, 3 water molecules are released. The 3 fatty acid in the triglycerol may be similar or dissimilar. Fats are also called triglycerol or triglycerides because of their chemical structure. Some fatty acids have common names that specify their origin. For example, palmitic acid, a saturated fatty acid, is derived from a palm tree. Arachidic acid is derived from Arsenic hypogaea, the scientific name for groundnuts or peanuts. Next, fatty acid may be saturated or unsaturated. In a fatty acid chain, if there are only single bonds between neighboring carbons in the hydrocarbon chain, the fatty acid is said to be saturated. Saturated fatty acid are saturated with hydrogen. In other words, the number of hydrogen atoms attached in the carbon skeleton is maximized. Stearic acid is an example of saturated fatty acid. We can look at the figure 3. And then, when the hydrocarbon chain contain a double bond, the fatty acid is said to be unsaturated. We can look at the figure 4. Oleic acid is an example of an unsaturated fatty acid. Most unsaturated fats are liquid at room temperature and are called oils. If there is one double bond in the molecule, then it is known as a monounsaturated fat. Example, olive oil. And if there is more than one double bond, then it is known as a polysaturated fat, which is canola oil. Next, we can look when a fatty acid has no double bond, it is known as a saturated fatty acid because no more hydrogen may be added to the carbon atom of the chain. A fat may contain similar or different fatty acid attached to glycerol. Long straight fatty acid with single bond tend to get packed tightly and are solid at room temperature. Animal fats with stearic acid and palmitic acid common in a meat, and the fat with butyric acid common in a butter or are example of saturated fats. Mammals store fats in a specialized cell called adipocytes with a globule of fat of fat occupy most of the cell's volume. In plants, fat or oil is stored in a many seed and is used as a source of energy during seedling development. Unsaturated fats or oil are usually of plant origin and contain cis unsaturated fatty acid. Cis and trans indicate the configuration of the molecule around the double bond. If hydrogen are present in the same plane, it is referred to as a cis fat. If the hydrogen atoms are on two different planes, it is referred to as a trans fat. The cis double bond cause a band that prevent the fatty acid from packing tightly, keeping them liquid at room temperature. We can look at the figure 5, which is olive oil, corn oil, canola oil, and cod liver oil are example of unsaturated fats. Unsaturated fats help to lower blood cholesterol level, whereas saturated fat contribute plaque formation in the artery. Which is the figure 5 stated that saturated fatty acid have hydrocarbon chain connected by a single bond only, and unsaturated fatty acid have one or more double bond. Each double bond may be a cis of or trans configuration. In the cis configuration, both hydrogen are on the same side of the hydrocarbon chain. In the trans configuration, the hydrogen are on opposite sides. A cis double bond cause a kink in the chain. Next, in trans fat, in the food industry, oil are artificially hydrogenated to make them semi-solid and of a consistency desirable for many processed food products. Simply speaking, hydrogen gas is published through the oil to solidify them. During this hydrogenation process, double bond of the cis conformation in the hydrocarbon chain may be converted to the double bond in the trans conformation. And margarine, some type of peanut butter, and shortening are example of artificially hydrogenated trans fat. Recent studies have shown that an increase in trans fat in the human diet may lead to an increase in a level of low density lipoproteins or bad cholesterol, which in turn may lead to plaque deposition in the artery, resulting in a heart disease. Many fast food restaurants have recently banned the use of trans fat, and food labels are required to display the trans fat content. So, we can conclude that lipids are a class of macromolecules that are nonpolar and hydrophobic in nature, and fats and oil are the types of the lipid. Fats are stored form of energy and are also known as triglycerols and or triglycerides. Fats are made up of fatty acid and either glycerol or sphingosine. Fatty acid may be unsaturated or saturated depending on the presence or absence of double bond in the hydrocarbon chain. If only single bonds are present, they are known as saturated fatty acid. And unsaturated fatty acid may have one or more double bond in the hydrocarbon chain. That's all from me. Thank you. Bye.